All right. Well, welcome back. So excited to have you joining us for our Monday edition of our Next Gen Nurses free webinar series. My name is Dr. Jennifer Bonner. I am a certified nurse midwife with over 15 years of nursing experience. I've done everything from neuro ICU to stroke ICU. I have done some work in endoscopy, labor and delivery, postpartum, but I have been delighted to jump into education about 3.5 years ago, and I currently serve as the tutor team lead here at Archer Review. So a lot of what I do is coming alongside students, helping you get prepared for that exam, helping you to succeed, cheering you on in the process. And so I am so excited to have you joining me tonight. And I'm wondering, do you ever feel like your study habits just aren't cutting it? Do you ever wonder what you could do to perform better on your exams? A lot of times students realize that their previous study habits weren't very effective in college. And this is understandable because college is a lot different from primary school, from elementary school, high school. Nursing school professors were less personally involved. Classes are bigger, exams are worth more, reading's more intense, classes are much more rigorous. That doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It just means we need to learn some more effective study strategies. But fortunately, there are a lot of effective, active study strategies that are shown to be effective that we're going to be covering today. So before we get started, just a couple housekeeping things. If you have a question for me, there is one of me and a lot of you. So if you have a question, please go ahead and put it in the Q&A. If you are just responding to one of my questions or have a comment, please go ahead and put that into the chat. But if you've ever joined us for one of our webinars, you know that the next thing I'm going to tell you about is Slido. So we are going to be using Slido today. And the first question I have for you is, where are you joining me from? This is one of my very favorite things to find out when we're doing these webinars is, where are you joining from? I get so excited to see where everybody is. I am in Ohio right now. So excited. It's rainy. You'll probably hear the thunder in the background. It's just storming a little bit. Louisiana, hey, exciting. Denver. Where else do we have? Texas, Canada. If you're joining us on Facebook, YouTube, go ahead, tag your friends, let them know we're here. Let me know where you're joining us from. Texas, Nevada, Canada, Calgary, Ghana, Missouri, Pennsylvania, Jamaica, New Jersey, Nigeria, New Brunswick, Florida. Awesome. Southern California, Canada, Massachusetts, Columbia, Toronto, Georgia. Welcome, welcome. Wherever you are, I'm so excited that you're joining us. And if you notice, we are coming from all over the world, not just all over the United States, coming from all over the world. And there's one thing that unites us. We are nurses, we are future nurses. We are all trying to figure out, how do we make it? And here at Archer Review, we're all about the Archer Review family. We want to support each other. We want to equip you with what you're going to need to be successful. So let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to talk about a few different learning styles. Now, when it comes to learning, we all learn a little bit different, right? So what I want you to think about is that there are a lot of different types of learning. There's combinations of learning styles. If you don't know your learning style, I want you to find an online quiz, figure out which one of these you fall most in line with, because that's going to help us figure out how can we best study. If you're someone that's visual, someone that needs to see something in order to understand, this is the person that really likes illustrations. PowerPoints are your go-to, videos, pictures, articles. That's your jam. That's how you are best studying. You might be auditory. These are for my friends who like to go running. I don't know what that's about. Go running, put your ear pods in, you're listening to a lecture. Me, I do. I like to go for a run. I like to go for a walk. I like to put my ear pods in, listen to a good podcast. You like to read your notes, one-on-one conversations. Then there's those of us who are kinesthetic. We need to do with our hands. These are hands-on activities. So labs, that's your go-to. Making concept maps, figuring it out, putting things in place, role playing. I was one that I like to put things in order. So if I had, I'm trying to figure out, how does the fetal circulation work? I would have to trace it. I'd have to color it. I would have to do it. So finding out how you best learn is our first step in figuring out what are we going to do? What do I need to do in order to learn best? Okay. And why is that important? Because there are some times where people can be visual and auditory, where you start to combine those things in order to learn best. So I want you to tell me, going back to Slido, what learning style do you use the most? Visual, auditory, or kinesthetic? I'm going to tell you that I'm a kinesthetic learner, but visually is what I use the most. Seeing a lot of visual, a lot of auditory. Okay, a couple kinesthetics going to join us in here. Nice work. Just wondering how you, what you have done the most. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of those visual learners, some kinesthetic, man, auditory. I thought you were going to take the cake. All right. So the other thing I want to talk about is how have you studied? So when we're thinking about how we've studied, I can tell you that in um, nursing school, I'm going to have a moment of honesty here and tell you that I did a lot of late night studying. I was working full time. I had moved from Ohio to another state to be with my then was my boyfriend. I wanted to be closer to him to figure out what that would look like. So I switched schools. I switched my undergrad, went to school there. So I was working full time. I would get to see him on the weekends, go to visit him. And so a lot of times I was not prioritizing study. So I would do a lot of cramming. And so it's really important that we take an inventory and figure out what have we done, what has worked, but what hasn't worked. Okay. So when we figure out what has and hasn't worked, we can start to develop a plan for success. So if we know cramming doesn't work, anybody with me? Cramming doesn't work well, then we know, okay, we need to set aside some time, maybe do some scheduling to be able to have that time to be prepared. If something has worked before, making concept maps, maybe listening to a recorded lecture, then we know that we can do that and that's helpful for us. And then figure out, are there other methods that we can implement based on our learning style? So maybe you're someone that has never thought about coloring. There are lots of books out there that if you're trying to learn the cranial nerves or maybe the different muscle groups, there's coloring books out there that will help you kind of visualize what that is. There are times, let me see if I can draw this for you. We'll see how I do here. There have been times in my nursing career when I have made these Venn diagrams. If I'm trying to figure out, let's say, the difference between diabetes 1 and diabetes 2, I'm going to put diabetes 1, all the things that are um, that only go with diabetes type 1 on this side, all the things that only go with diabetes type 2 on this side, and any similarities they have, I'm going to put in the middle. Now, this is great. Now, other things that I will do, um, is I will put these in different colors. So I might do red and blue and purple in the middle. And that's just kind of how my brain works. So if that works for you, great, go ahead and try it. If you've never tried a Venn diagram for something with that type of information, go ahead and try it. See how it works for you. But consistency is key to success. Now, things are not always going to work out. Maybe you're like, Jennifer, I want to try the Venn diagram. You try it and it works. Great. Then go ahead and add that to your repertoire. Maybe you try it and you're like, Jennifer, oh, that didn't help me at all. Okay, then just file it. That's, try it, see if it worked. Um, and see if that's something kind of a trial and error situation. So we're going to go back to Slido, and I have another question for you. I want to know, what study methods do you think you want to try? What methods do you want to try? Okay, think teach back. Okay. Teach back. active recall, group studying. Okay. Group studying can be a lot of help. Other times we find that it becomes a social hour. So if it works for you, great. If it becomes the social hour, then I would suggest maybe try something different. Find a different group or maybe try a different tactic. Remediation, mapping. If you're somebody that is going through questions, make sure that you understand those rationales. Go back, go through the rationales, make sure you not only understand why is the right answer right, but also why are those wrong answers wrong. That's going to give you information not only to tackle that question, but further questions down the road. When I was in nursing school, there would be times when I would get the answer right, but for the wrong reason. So when you gain that knowledge, you're able to then apply it. Someone says, I feel like I study and study hard, and it feels like there's no information in my mind when I got the questions, don't know the answers. That sounds a lot like anxiety. Anxiety can cause some thought blocking to where we don't remember what we studied. So if that's you, I would recommend reaching out to your primary healthcare provider. First of all, and then thinking about some anxiety tactics. So deep breathing, the 1, 2, 3 method. Okay, so study alone and talk out loud when repeating. That's a great option. Seeing if you can teach someone. Make sure that it's somebody that knows what they're talking about. So if you start saying, hey, so the difference between diabetes type 1 and type 2 is the amount of candy that you eat, make sure that they know the difference so they can say, hey, you're right here, but this is not correct. So you don't think that you are moving on with information that's incorrect. These are awesome ways to study. I love it. So let's talk about some other ways to study. Taking notes, practice questions. We talked about those. Flashcards. Okay, let me see a show of hands. How many of you have kiddos in your home? Maybe grandkids, grandparents. Maybe you're caring for your parents. Let me know how many of you are in that boat. Okay, lots of you. This is one of my top ways. If you've ever struggled with, man, I really need to study, but I really need to spend time with my kiddos, this is a great way to do that. It's getting time with your kiddos. It's something fun, but you're also getting that study time. And this is making flashcards. And particularly when you are studying something like, um, let's say different drug classes. So maybe you're looking at beta blockers, calcium channel blockers, things like that. And so you're going to make flashcards that say beta blockers, calcium channel blockers, and whatever others you need. And then make cards that have um, drugs from each class and see if you can match them up. And then have your kids test you and see how you did. They can even give you a report card. Sometimes that's just fun. It's a cute way for them to be involved as well. Listening, whether that's to lectures or someone else teach, maybe it is, if you didn't know, we actually have a podcast. Morgan Taylor heads that up, and it is called, let me get that name for you. It's called Pulse Check. The last one was on ectopic pregnancies. So she goes through kind of a case study. So if you've never tried that, that would be a good one. Um, Other things you can teach someone or looking at images. The other thing I want you to think about is there are times when we don't know what we don't know. So we need to figure out what is it that we don't know and figure out how we can know it. How do we do that? Well, know what you do know. So keep a list of those confusing topics. So let's just say I was going through some questions and I got one that was on Addison's versus Cushing's disease. I know that one is high and one is low, but I can't remember which one. I'm going to either on my smart device or I might have a piece of paper right next to me. And I am going to keep track of those topics so that I can go back by the end of the day and revisit those. That is really important because when we get through those questions, our brain is going to say, ah, man, I had that question. I didn't remember what Cushing's disease was, but I went back and reviewed it, and now I'm going to hold on to that information because we're linking those two events together. So that's something that you can try. Go back and do some remediation. Go back to those tests, go through those rationales, and then make sure that you're using your resources. So I want you to tell me, have you spent more time memorizing or understanding the material? Where have you spent most of your time, memorizing or understanding? Whoops. Memorizing or understanding material. Okay, understanding. So sometimes we're memorizing, right? We're trying to figure out, okay, what's that drug class? What goes where? So someone is asking while you guys are putting in your answers, I wanted to know what actually happens in a 3-day live class. Is it live for 3 days straight, or is there a time to pause? Just curious. So our 3-day live is actually coming up next week. It's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It goes from 9 a.m. Central to 4 p.m. Central on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we cover the high yield NCLEX topics that you're going to need to know to be successful. We have built-in breaks. We have built-in lunch breaks in there. You'll hear from different tutors throughout the day on various subjects, all the way from fundamentals through our specialties. It is an amazing time. If you're interested, head on over to archerreview.com, check out our 3-day live review. So many of you are saying that you have spent a lot of time understanding. Some of you are trying to memorize. So let's talk about what that difference looks like. So when it comes to memorizing, we're looking at lists, we're recalling facts, definitions. This is a lot like when we're working on our multiplication facts, our addition facts, subtraction facts. But I want you to move more into an understanding mind frame, starting to apply concepts to information. So this morning, I hosted the immune system live case study. We took the information that we already know and started applying it to a client that we see, drawing connections, going deeper in your understanding to where you can explain it. And that's going to lead to deeper understanding where you're able to recall that when you get to your exam. So let's do this together. Let's think about our active studying. We're going to create a study guide by topic. We're going to start thinking about questions and problems and then write those answers. So we're going to make our own quiz about maybe heart failure. Okay. I want you to become a teacher. See if you can start gathering examples, be able to present this. Now, there were times when I was working in the college setting that I would have students from my class that would get together in a group and they would present the topic. And a lot of times that's really helpful to give you the information that you need in order to present it to someone else. This is really fun, especially if you can get into a group. I have had students that like I taught my dog all about it, and that worked for them. Flashcards is another one. This is good for on the go. Great for memorization. So if you're working on, let's say, med term, you're trying to figure out what poly means or hydramnios. This is great for that. It's good for when you're in, the pickup line at school for those of you who have kiddos in school or going back to school, or maybe you are waiting outside for an appointment of some sort or in the drive-through line. Those are great. This is also fun to do with kids. You can just kind of flip through them. They can help you with that as well. And this is a really good example of what this might look like. So on the top, I'm going to put my major topic here, our anticoagulants. On the right side, I'm going to put one of those is heparin. And so I want to know, what does heparin do? How do I dose it? What am I monitoring? What's normal? What's not? And then what am I going to be monitoring for because of what this does? And if there is an important antidote, then I certainly want to know this. Other things you can do is taking notes. Rewriting notes sometimes can help solidify that information. So as you're going through, just kind of write down the highlights and then go back. And a lot of times that's going to jog your memory as to what you heard before. Sometimes I put these in different colors. Y'all, I wish you could see. I have a bag of pens. I have a problem. I have a pen in just about any color you can imagine, and I use them. So if I'm in the cardiac system, I might use red for the heart. Um, Highlighters, sticky notes. I have sticky notes everywhere, to the point where one day one of my kiddos came up and they were all over their face, which was kind of fun. Other things that we can do are put areas of the NCLEX test plan and put areas that we need to study in there. So whether, um, maybe it's maternal child or safety, things like that, put those up on your board so you know where you need to focus. Concept maps are great. So if I am going to look at hypertensive medications, I'm going to break these up into different categories. My ACEs, my ARBs, my beta blockers, my calcium channel blockers. And then off of that, I want to know, what are some examples of these? What side effects am I looking for? Anything that's super important for me to know, antidotes, things that I need to watch out for, things that I want to be careful of. Okay, those are really great options. And let me remind you, if you have a question, please don't hesitate. I know the chat is quite busy. So if you have a question that needs answered, I will try to get to those at the best of my ability. Please go ahead and put those in the Q&A so that I don't miss any of those. The other thing I want you to think about is listening to it. Get those headphones out, get your ear pods in, go to your favorite coffee shop or restaurant. Think podcasts. Think about while you're walking your dog or exercising in the morning. This is a really great way if you're waiting for someone, maybe you're in the drive-through line, maybe you are driving to school. You can put this on in your car. Apple CarPlay is a big thing now, that can play over. And then a lot of times, so I'm going to let you know something that's really funny is that I started listening to our pulse check, and now my son will go, Mom, is that Morgan with Archer Review? So it's just funny. Our kids start to pick up on those things and they start to ask questions, which gives us an opportunity to showcase what we know. Someone says, do you have any advice on breaking down the NCLEX style questions? I absolutely do. I'm actually hosting a webinar tomorrow, late afternoon. I believe it is 2 p.m. Central. Let me check on that for you real quick. Yes, tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central, I am presenting breaking down NCLEX style questions. So if you are interested, please send us an email to nclextutors@archerreview.com. You can go to archerreview.com and check it out. We do not offer these slides, unfortunately, during our free webinars, but this recording will be available to you on both Facebook and YouTube. We do not have flashcards. Someone is asking if we have flashcards here at Archer Review. We do not. And someone was asking, what are our live lectures like? So this is going through important information on various topics. We have topics for just about anything you can imagine. We also have case studies that we do as well. And if you are looking for a tutor, maybe you're struggling with how to best study or where those breakdown points are, you can go to archerreview.com, or you can just Google Archer Review tutoring and it will take you right to our tutoring page. So I want to know, which study method do you think you are most interested in trying? If you could pick one of the study methods that we just talked about, which study method would you be interested in trying? So I know we already have these listed here, but I'm wondering which of the ones we just talked about. So teaching someone, listening, note taking, flashcards. What are you interested in? Listening to podcasts. Those are great. I especially like it when we're doing a case study because I can start to pull that information that I know and apply that to the situation. Practice questions. Yes, going through those rationales is excellent. So for those who have taken the NCLEX more than once, I would absolutely recommend tutoring if that's something. We also offer 30-minute sessions that are $40. We offer 60-minute sessions that are $75. And there is a discount for the more sessions that you book at one time. Now, someone is asking, how do you recommend studying for the NCLEX? Great question. The first thing that I recommend is when you're first starting to study is that you get a study plan. Now, here at Archer Review, we have several options. My very favorite one is for a brand new grad is the 6-week study plan. And our 6-week study plan breaks down the information into manageable bite-sized pieces, gets you through all of the information that you're going to need, all the areas to study, tells you when to take when to take a readiness assessment, when to take a CAT assessment, when to just slow down, when to review the questions that you missed during the week. And we also have a week before the exam study guide available in the dashboard. If you're still not sure, let me recommend our number one package, our Sure Pass combo. Now, this comes with all of our on-demand videos. If you're struggling with a particular area, you're like, man, I really wish we could break this down. This will do it for you. We have our cubing that has the rationales broken down in understandable ways, and also our 3-day live review. This is 3 action-packed days where we go through that high-yield information that you're going to need to be successful, and we end with a mock exam. So much fun, action-packed, a lot of information. If you have our Sure Pass combo, it comes with that ebook as well, so you can take that with you. If you're an RN, scan the code there on your left, see what all the excitement is about. If you're a PN, check out the right side. Again, don't take my word for it. Go out and see what your colleagues are saying. Now, I want to know, how good are you with your time management? How good are you at your time management? Let me know in the chat. Now, someone is asking, how can we fill in the knowledge gaps without wasting too much time so we can do more practice questions? As you're going through those practice questions, if there's something that's still sticky, go back and review that information. It's not wasted time. I want you to make sure you understand. Someone is asking, do you recommend the readiness or CAT exam? Our readiness exam is the best predictor. And someone else said, each time I try to make flashcards, I get frustrated. Any recommendations? So if you're getting frustrated with flashcards, try note taking or listening to lectures. You're not bound to just flashcards. Totally fine to try something different. All right. So I'm seeing could be better, great, not, depends on the day. So the first thing that we need to do when we're thinking about time management is getting organized. So no matter what stage you're in, just starting out with nursing school, prepping for the NCLEX, you should have a plan that outlines on an average about 2 to 4 hours of studying time a day. And this might seem impossible at first, but when you fill out an hourly calendar, it becomes much easier to find where you have those gaps in your schedule. I love the pretty calendars that have the stickers because it really shows me where that information, where my breakdowns are, where do I have availability. So for instance, tomorrow I have my meetings outlined. I know that I have blocks of time where I can sit down and get some work done. The same is true. Your studying is absolutely work for you. Set goals, short term, long term. You have a daily, weekly, and even a monthly goal that you stick to. And then when you reach those goals, reward yourself. It's an amazing opportunity. Now, here's a quick tip to be successful on your exam. Practice questions daily. Even if it's just a couple of questions a day, those practice questions are going to be helpful. Now, think about when you are studying. What type of area do you study well in? Is it clean area? If you're anything like me, I like to spread out my stuff. I need a plant. I need a calendar. I need my candle. I need my coffee. I need my computer, my books, all the things. So I usually study at my kitchen table. But the problem is that my kitchen table overlooks my sink. And so if I didn't get the dishes done from the night before, I'm distracted. So figure out a place where you're not distracted or you have minimal distractions. Highlight the time that you need. So schedule that time in, but also schedule in sometimes for breaks. Get started early. So know, are you an early riser or you study best at night? And then try to study in those windows and know your why, because that's also going to keep you grounded. Studying that or following that study plan is going to be helpful. If you're somebody that likes to check things off, this is for you. It helps you stay organized so that you're not cramming last minute. Once you know something, move on. There's no reason to stay there just because it says to. If you know the information, go ahead, move on to the next thing. Now, if you have never studied with us, let me introduce you to our webinar exclusive code. I love Archer. It gives you 10% off for webinar attendees. Feel free to share this webinar with your friends. Check out what we have going on. And last but not least, we want to hear from you. We want to know, what is it that you're looking for? What is it that you need? What is it that you're enjoying or you feel like could be better? Don't hesitate. Go ahead and scan the QR code there. Fill out our survey. Let us know what it is that you are looking for. Now, someone said, I failed my first attempt. Any advice for the second attempt? Yes, study plans are huge. Try to figure out maybe what went wrong. Check out your CPR report. That will give you quite a bit of information. The webinar for tomorrow on breaking down NCLEX questions is actually $25. So if you're interested, don't hesitate. Head on over to archerreview.com. The readiness assessment versus the CAT assessment. The CAT assessment is kind of like a simulated NCLEX. The readiness assessment gives us an idea on, if you were to go take the NCLEX today, how would you do? We're looking for 4 to 5 highs or very highs in a row, along with getting at least 80% of the way through our Q bank before you take the NCLEX. All right. So if you have no idea what the question is asking, I say take your best guess. Think about the testing strategies that you know and take your best guess and move on. Don't self-analyze. Also, regardless of where you are on your nursing journey, whether you're just getting into nursing school, you're in the thick of it, maybe you're on summer break, you're getting ready to take your NCLEX, or maybe you've moved on to advanced practice, we have a community for you. So we are so glad that you are a part of the Archer Review community. I'm so glad that you have joined me today. We look forward to seeing you back on Wednesday for our next free webinar. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow joining us in the Breaking Down NCLEX questions. If you have a question, maybe I didn't get to, or you're interested in joining my webinar for tomorrow, send me an email at nclextutors@archerreview.com. Happy to get that information to you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. We hope to see you back next time. Take care, guys.